Hello and welcome. My name is Miriam Usman and you are watching Youth Challenge. The root of education, they say, is usually bitter, which is true. And then to the end thereof, the fruit of education is always sweet. Education is that treasure that follows you everywhere you go once you have it. And that is why on the show today, we will be discussing on an amazing topic: private institution and public institution, which is preferable for students, which is preferable for everyone who would love to be educated. This program is about to go down in the studio right now, but I am not going anywhere until I introduce you to the amazing people we have on the show today. And by my left, I have Blessing Adebayo, who will be opposing the topic on the show today.
Hi viewers, thanks for having me.
And I have by my right the debater who will be proposing on the topic today. His name is Odele Quadri.
Hi viewers, thanks for having me here.
We're moving straight to the audience today on the show, and I have Akintunde Adeoluwa.
Hello viewers, it's my pleasure to be here today.
And I have, of course, Chidende Ayobami.
Hello viewers, thanks for having me here today.
And by my close left, I have Kolade Oluwapelumi.
Hello viewers, and thanks for having me on the show today.
Alright, that is all in the audience today, and I've just introduced my debaters on the show, and the debate is about to go down after the short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining in, this is Youth Challenge, where we discuss topical issues that revolves around youth. And today on the program, we are debating on the topic, the private institutions and public institutions, which is preferable. And I have two amazing debaters on the show today who will be giving us their views on this topic. I know you have your own view. I mean, you have what you want to pick or whoever you want to side on this topic today, but then these persons might change your perspective about what we have on the show today. I have Quadri Odele, who will be proposing the topic on the show today. Over to you, Quadri.
I'm supporting the motion that public institutions are better than the private institution, because if you look around the world, you see that there are a lot of people who have the challenge of going to school, and mostly you want to cope illiteracy in a country where there are a lot of challenges of unemployment, and you need skills and a lot of handwork to make a nation great. Public institution is an advantage for all or anybody willing to get educated. Because if you're talking about with private universities or private institution, we're talking about a lot of money here, because it involves a lot of money. You can't just go to a private university with a little amount of money, or you want to make up for your textbooks and one or two activities, curriculum activities that will be done, practicals and so. But a public institution which is owned by the government, it might be state government or it might be a federal government, but it is owned by the government and is financed. It is to improve the infrastructure of education for less privileged or people who can afford it. Firstly, when you enter a public university, the first thing you meet a lot of people. You're not going to learn, or you're not getting educated just because you want to have a certificate. You're going there to learn morally, psychologically, physically. When I talk about physically, football, you want to run, you want to assist in competitions like social competitions. That's the physical part. And when I talk about psychologically, you're meeting a lot of people. You're meeting a challenged person in school. You're meeting someone, a harsh person, a nice person, a disabled person. You're meeting a lot of people who are challenged, coming together. Then in a class, yeah, I know some people will argue that there are a lot of people in a class in public university or institution, but yes, it is better, because this is where they come to meet each other. Different types, different tribes. You're meeting of different tribes from all around the country. In public universities, there are a lot of freedom for you there. You don't tend to do what is done in a private university, where they control you on what to do at a particular time, what to eat, or what to take, what to wear. In a public university or institution, you have a freedom, a total freedom to go to class when you wish. That's if you're serious. You have time to pick the course or whatever you want to do at a particular time, unlike when you be told what to do. You know the funniest thing about this public university, they have the best lecturers. In short, the professors. These are where they want to show the students how good they are, how well they can build the students, and how well they can assist them with their future. And aside from that, I could remember like more awards are won by universities, public universities or public institutions, because back then I could remember one, and I can May June 2020 award, which was given at I think Igbogbo Ikorodu. So a public student in institution actually won 2 awards of the best overall in ICANN. So that's really my point for now, that I would prefer a public university than a private university.
Well, we've listened to the proposing view on the topic private institution and public institution, which is preferable. And Quadri has been able to explain his point of view with major emphasis on finance. Now let us move over to the opposing view on this topic today, and I have Blessing Adebayo.
Thank you very much. Majorly, we should believe that the development of the society and education in relations to themselves. We believe education is an important and a veritable tool that has helped in developing our nation and our society today. Now, talking about a good and sound education, it can be found in no other place than a private institution. Now, I'm going to be stating more points on reasons myself will be choosing a private institution to a public institution. Yeah, private institutions are of more choices better to public institution. Number one, talking about strike actions in public institution. It is only a person who lives under the rocky air in Nigeria as a whole that would say he or she has never heard or has never seen or experienced strike action as regard public schools. Now, there are a lot of courses that are supposed to be offered or to be taken for not less than 3 to 4 years, but are taking much more years to get them done. A person who is ready to get up to task, to develop him or herself, a community can never develop without communication. How do we tend to relate? How do we tend to network? We see these are the major opportunities that are offered by private institutions. Talking about the smaller classes they offer to students. Now, we see in public schools, several students sit on windows, you see some sit on the floor, you see some spread far and wide outside of the classes, not even knowing what's going on inside the class. That's where you'll be hearing about class 2, students within class 3. No, it is not done. Then how do we come together to talk about what we have achieved as students? But in private institution, it is not. The classes are not very big, and they are not too big that it is going to contain the numbers of students, and fine, they are going to get across to their lecturer. Now, another thing is talking about student and lecturer relationship, the rapport between a student and the lecturer. How do we tend to build this relationship in a public school where we have 2,000 and 3,000 students in a class? Some student does not even know who their lecturer is until the end of their course. It is like that. But in a school whereby morals are being taught, you tend to emulate who you are seeing as a professor. You tend to emulate who you are seeing as your lecturer. Oh, this is what this person is doing. This is what I want to do as well. But these things are only very achievable in a private school. Find so many people sees the cost of the tuition fee in private school as a constraint. It should be. Reason is that they provide a whole lot of resources and improved technologies for students in order to achieve what they are wanting. It is going to be a very difficult task for you to get to some public institution today and you find some projector, laptop, or things that would aid a smooth learning for students compared to other private institutions we have here in Nigeria, whereby a lot of technologies are provided for students that is going to aid a good and thorough learning. There are a lot of opportunities for students who graduate from several private schools today in Nigeria. Going to school is beyond learning the basics of the studies. Knowing whom is lecturing you and who is your professor directly. All of these things are the embodiments, are all embedded in learning, It is beyond learning or going for the courses where you have obtained for. No. In a private school, we see steady payments of lecturer that is going to also encourage them to want to work. Yeah, there are a lot of encouragements for lecturers in private school compared to that of public school. We see a good administrative officer in private school that tends to know the situation and the weather of the people whom they are working together. A rector of a public school has a limited control over the school unless if the governor of the state has signed or approved what he or she is saying. But we can come together as a person in a private institution to talk about how to improve our schools, and we are going to have it within ourselves to get them controlled. And I think at this very point of mine, I should be able to establish my point that I would pick a private school above a public school.
I tell you, this is becoming a whole lot interesting. And we've had Blessing Adebayo with major emphasis on opposing the topic today. He started by telling us strike is one paramount thing that disturbs education in the public sector. And then he went further to compare the population between private and public institutions. And if you're watching this, you will understand that all of these things are one of the features of this institution. And we've had Quadri tell us his own point of view. Aside all of what Blessing just said, finance is also playing a huge role in this topic today. But the topic is not just for us to debate. This segment we're about to launch is a Vox Pop segment where we get to listen to the people out there, the society, tell us what they think about the topic. Stay with us, we're going on a short break and we'll be right back.
There tend to be a lot of strikes in public university than private universities. You know, I don't think there are really strikes in private universities because your 4 years is your 4 years, your 5 years is your 5 years. But if you go to a public university, you tend to use 5 years. For your 5 years, you're using 8 years, 9 years. I know of my friends who went to the university before I did, and I finished before they did. They're even still there. Some of them have even gotten married while they're still in school because of strikes. Nigeria today, you have private universities that they are affordable according to what is in your pocket. They also, you can even pay more than once. There are schools like that you can pay more than once. And they're going to give you the quality education. In private universities, you have opportunity to learn more because you have limited number of students in a private university. That makes things easier for the lecturer. He's going to know each and every one's face, name, and how to train them. He's going to know that this person, this is our weakness. This person, that is his weakness. Unlike public universities where the lecturer has no time, the lecturer can come and he may not come.
I think I'll go for public universities because there you meet different type of people, different type of kind of people. So like you tend to like mingle with them and like know more about life, have life experience. But then in private university, you have just one set of people. Let's say the comfortable people. Also in public university, you tend to like have more experienced lecturers, more professors to teach you. When it comes to like the money part, the school fee, I think the public university is better because they pay less and then they cater for their students. They try to understand that most people don't have the money to like pay for things. So like I think the government do help them. But in the private university, they just give this certain amount of fee, and then if you are not capable of paying it, you can't attend that university.
Public university are always on strike when you look at it. Private schools now, for example, they are even when they were on COVID, most of them run online classes. And if you look at the online classes that was run by those in public school, you will laugh because the way they are running the online classes, it wasn't okay. Students just do anyhow on the platform. They don't really listen to what they are saying. You know, because of overcrowding and all that, online platform becomes very, very hard for them to run. When you are looking at the fact that environment, a very serene environment for learning, that you assimilate whatever is being taught almost immediately. You go for private schools. Private school is doing that better, making sure that everything, all their blocks and their classrooms and everything is situated together as in very, very close knitted environment, that you don't have to go to for like 5 miles to reach anywhere.
If you're just joining in on the program, this is Youth Challenge, and on the topic today is private institutions and public institutions. Which is preferable? Which do you prefer? Do you prefer the private or the public? Well, on the show today, we have two amazing debaters who have been giving us their point of view. I have Quadri here, and he has been proposing and pushing for public institution. So yes, if you think public school or public institution is preferable, Quadri is also in support of that, and we will be moving towards Quadri's direction to ask certain questions about his point of view. So Quadri, before we went on break, you did mention some points why you're supporting the public institution over private institution. Now, you made major emphasis on finance. Now, let's take finance out of the picture. If finance is not the issue, assuming public and private institutions are having the same financial structure, would you also push for more public institutions in the country than private institutions?
Yeah, I will still pick public institution rather than pick a private or institution. You see, the private students, they cannot react in public.
They cannot react in public.
You see, this is why the psychological part comes in. They can't maintain their psychological cool in public. Things are done by their moms or their dad, so they don't know how to live alone on their own. Their belief is, my parent can do me this, my parent can do me that. I can use this influence of my parent to do this against you. I can use this or that. No, it's not supposed to be so.
So in a nutshell, you're saying public schools provide the best students in the
yeah, because mentally they go through a lot. They know how to react with your kind of character, with your kind of personalities. They've met all those sets in school, throughout school. There's no new character in private university or private institution that a public student will not be able to flow with. But actually, you see them, they are always more like a guaranteed set of individuals that they know that when they are done with their education, there's a job, they're securing a job instantly because of the influence of their parent or who they know. Now it is an advantage on their part. Let's move away from there. When we talk about sport, let's go into social stuff like sport. How many private students can come out? You will see hardly few of them that can even play ball for 90 minutes without gassing out or wanting to run away from the field or do this. It's always on a public student. They are always extra active when it comes to social gatherings and all. Private student, yeah, if you talked about ASU strike or some strike, it is true, there's no denying in it. But I will remind him that you just pointed out one of the weaknesses of Nigeria education, not public only, Nigeria as a whole. That is what you just pointed out. So it is not a fact that should affect a public institution. Now, because what he just said, he is telling me directly saying that without money, you should not be educated.
I know you're boiling. I know you have points. I know you want to say something. But you just made some striking points and...
Well, there's something I'm going to talk about very quickly. That talking about the fact that if you don't have money, you shouldn't go to school. No, that's not right. Yes, the fact is there are several alumni of several institutions that still pay back to institutions to help students who are not capable of sponsoring themselves any longer. Okay, let's talk about a public school student at this juncture. A public school student whom on the long run lost he or she, probably the sponsor or the father or the mother. How do you expect this person to continue? Yeah, these are tragedies of life. It can happen to anybody at any time. But the cost of finance shouldn't be a constraint for getting what is right.
Well, that's from the opposing view on the topic today. Blessing Adebayo is still giving much emphasis on strike. Now let us move over to the audience as they have questions for the debaters on the show today. Over to you, Adeoluwa.
My question goes to Blessing. Well, don't you think that these restrictions placed on private university students affect them when they interact with their peers from other public universities?
Thank you very much for that question. You tend to say restriction placed on private students. Well, I don't know, I can't say of the institution, you have seen that before, but I tell to you, the idea of students freedom. Now, coming across public school students in the public or in the place of meeting to address themselves, I don't think that should be a barrier. Myself as a person, I can address any number of person or any number of people at any given time. I don't see a restriction of not going out as a problem. You know, you being restricted from going out is a kind of safeguarding your own life from endangering yourself, yes, and losing focus on the long run because they know what you have paid for and the service they should render to you. So you as a person or myself as a person, we have our own attribute. There are several introvert persons and extrovert persons outside there. So I don't see that restriction as any problem from interacting with people in public places. Thank you very much.
Mr. Akodu, what are the challenges of going to private institutions? Can you tell us?
There are a lot of challenges of going to a private universities or institution. Like I said earlier, the finance is the first thing and the most important, because it will not be fair for you to start something and not finish it up. That is the very, very bad part. Starting around the first 100 level, 200 level, and you can't finish up because of finance. It's an issue. That's the first one. Then the second one is, if you want to like get to know more people, or you want to see the real world of the education, you need to meet people, a lot of people. Unlike meeting just 20 people in a class or 10 people in a class. Yes, he said earlier that 2,000 people in a class. Not all schools in public institutions have 2,000 in a class. Some are 100, some are 90, some are 80. And I could give you a fact about it.
You know, Mr. Kodri, that he who fails to plan has definitely planned to fail.
All right, we're moving close to that, and I know you still have a lot to say, but time is on our side, and we're moving gradually to the end of the program. Now, you had something to say. Just as a form of your final words on the show today, what would you want your viewers to have from you today?
Okay, once again, what I just said is that he who fails to plan has definitely planned to fail. Whenever you want to start any course, kindly run your plan very well in order not to just cut yourself short along the road. And once again, for private school is very, very, very important. And I tell to you, you are not going to regret it at the end of it, because you definitely have it and enjoy what you definitely paid for. Thank you very much.
You definitely enjoy it, according to Blessing Adebayo. I trust you are already enjoying yourself with his point of view. And of course, we'll be moving over to Kodri. Your final words on the show.
I would advise anybody trying to enter an institution to take a look at the future of how everything will go well. But I can assure you that if you're going to a public institution, just choose one of the best schools around. And I know you will not regret it. That's it. Thank you very much.
Just before we round up on the show today, we will be launching the Words of Wisdom segment. Stay with us. Words of wisdom, they say, are words of elders. Trust you're able to capture that one for yourself. And with that, we've come to the end of the program today on Youth Challenge. But just before we leave, to show that this is just a debate program, of course, it's just to promote our different views of certain topics. We'll have the debaters show a sign of love by observing the COVID-19 protocols. Shall we?
Yeah.
And with that, we've come to the end of the show today. Trust you had an amazing time with us today on Youth Challenge. Until I come your way, same time, same station next week. My name remains Miriam Usman, and I want to say a big thank you for staying with us today on the show. A big thank you to my audience and the debaters on the show today. Until I see you next week, Stay safe and be fine. Bye for now.